How many times are you following up with potential clients or even your current clients? Do you find it hard to convert clients via email? Or do you find client communication overall just a little bit of a struggle? In today's video, I'm answering a bunch of your questions in relation to client communication, follow-up emails, how to convert your clients better, strategies that you can use, as well as touching on my onboarding process from start to finish. So I hope that you find these tips helpful, and I just want to emphasize that your customer service is such an integral part to the ongoing and sustainable success of your business. So overall, a strong portfolio and amazing customer service is going to put you one step ahead of everybody else. Number one are ways to convert your leads into clients. So a great way to nurture and convert your leads is accessibility to you and also the information about the services that you offer. So when someone inquires with you, they are going to want to know how your prices work. Do you offer packages or do you custom quotes? They want to see more of your portfolio, maybe your Instagram account. They might want to get to know you more as the business owner and also how your process works. And it's going to be really important that your website answers a lot of their questions so that when they inquire with you, there's less barrier to entry. And this is why having a really strong and professional website is so important, and I did make a whole video on this here if you want to go and check that out. So firstly, when you receive that initial inquiry, I would offer the opportunity to jump on a phone call with a potential lead to chat through their brief. And I know phone calls can be a little bit daunting for some of us, but you are going to be able to build rapport a lot quicker with the client, and it can help you to convert the booking faster. Another asset I think is really great to have is a very strong email signature. One that is clickable, where they can maybe go to your Instagram or social channels, they can view your portfolio, and also a signature that sets boundaries for your contact hours. So some people might expect you to reply within the first 24 hours, and if you're a photographer, you probably know how difficult that is with so much going on in our business, feeling creatively burnt out. You know, we don't always get an opportunity to answer emails even within 48 hours. So this video is sponsored by Ystamp, which is a very cool platform that helps you to create and design a clickable and attractive email signature that I just think looks really professional. It can evoke your personality as well, so it helps to build that trust factor even more quickly. And I'm going to show you how it works really quickly, so let's dive in. So here we are in Ystamp. I'm just going to quickly show you how easy and cool it is to create an email signature in this platform. So I'm just going to label this Amanda, and I'm going to go edit signature. So we're going to go to details here. You can see there's already a template of how it would potentially look. So I'm going to add in my details. You can also add any other field that you might want to address in your email signature as well. And then I'm going to upload my image. Let's choose one from my desktop. Okay, cool. So you can see that's already populated those sections of the email signature. We're gonna add in our social icons. Now, I'm actually gonna upload my own. I created these in Canva, super simple, and this way it's just a little bit more on brand for me. So I've got my Instagram one. Oh, I already got that there. And then we just type in. And I'm also going to add one for my YouTube as well. Okay, so I'm happy with that. And then we can go into our templates here and change around the design depending on what you like best. So I'm just going to run through these ones here so you can see the different types of designs that you can have. I love that it just automatically populates for you as well. It's very cool. So I'm just gonna stick with the classic for now, and then we're gonna head over to design. So you can change your font. I'm gonna change it to, let's go Toma. And you can also change your font size. I might make it a tiny little bit bigger. So your template color, you can also change this. So if we were doing, let's say, let's do this one here, for example. And we go to our custom color. Just gonna make this like a purple. Let's just do that. You can change the color of that bar, which I love, so you can have it very on brand to you. And then you can also change the size of your image. Make that a little bit bigger. Or the shape, maybe let's do a circle. And you can also link that image. I might actually change that back to my classic. Yeah, I love that. I love that way better. And I'm going to put that as a link to my website as well. This is why I love Ystamp, because everything can be a clickable link. It's so good. Text color you can change. Social icons, I'm gonna make those bigger so they really stand out. Let's just make them full size. And then we've got this decorative line. So I'm gonna go match with template color, and it's changed the color of that line. And now you can enhance your signature with all these other little things. So maybe let's go Instagram gallery. I think that's super cool. I'm gonna connect my Instagram account. So I've connected my Timber Media House Instagram account, and as you can see, it has populated my email signature with the most recent photos from the feed. And I think this is a very cool way to show potential clients, your leads, a bit of your portfolio at a glance. Like, that is really, really cool. So I love this feature, and you can obviously add so many more features here. You can add a call to action, images, videos, even a starred sign off, something that is a bit more interesting. So let's do kind regards. Actually, I always say talk soon. So I'm gonna do custom text. Whoop. Talk soon. Oh, you can even animate it. That's very cool. I'm gonna add that in. Okay, I love how that animates the talk soon. I think it's very cool. So I'm basically done. So I'm gonna hit there, and I use Gmail. So I'm gonna be using it with my Gmail account. My signature is ready. Overall, I think having an attractive and well thought out email signature can actually help to build trust with your potential client that much more. You want to have a nice photo of your smiling face, and feel free to add in your personality. So make sure you go and check out Ystamp. I think it's a very cool platform. I'm obsessed with how the email signatures look and all the features that comes with it. So I'll leave a link in the description box below so you can go and check that out. Number 2. Have you ever heard the saying, the fortune is in the follow-up? From my own experience, this could not be more true. And majority of our bookings, I'm gonna say, are actually secured by us following up. And I know following up can be a little daunting, and it might seem like we're pestering people and annoying them or being too salesy. But the thing is that people who own a product-based business, they have a million things going on. And photography is probably maybe somewhere down here on their very long list of to-do items. Whereas for us, well, photography is obviously our number one priority. So of course, we're gonna have it at the forefront of our mind, but the potential client may not, even though they've inquired. I've had clients actually thank me for following up with them and reminding them that yes, they are still interested in the project. So remember, when you're following up, you're coming from a place of service. You're not pestering them. You're simply just reminding the person, hey, you inquired. I'm just wondering if you were still interested in moving ahead with the project. Now, when following up 1 to 2 times, it's not enough. It's not. You wanna follow up around 5 to 6 times over a period of time if you truly want to work with that client. And I'm going to show you a little follow-up timeline that we use in our business. So our first follow-up is done 3 days after the initial inquiry comes through. So this is after we've sent them the brief to fill out. We give them 3 days to sit on it. The second follow-up comes 7 days after our last contact. The third follow-up comes 14 days after our last contact. The fourth follow-up is done 30 days after our last contact. And the fifth follow-up is done 60 to 90 days after last contact. Now, obviously these timelines can change depending on if the client responds and what they respond with. Now, when it comes to following up, we have to have very specific call to actions at the end of each follow-up, and they need to be different for each follow-up email as well. None of this, let me know if you have any questions. It's too fluffy. They will let you know if they have questions. It's not direct enough. Now, if you're inside my course, Become a Brand Photographer, there is an email series of follow-up templates that you can use, which are actually designed to get a response. And since I crafted these emails and we've been using them in our business, we do receive more responses somewhere along the follow-up chain, and ultimately that has slightly increased our booking rate as well. If you're not part of the course yet, go and check it out. I'll leave a link in the description box below, and don't forget, use the code YouTube for 10% off. Now, if someone comes back to you and they're like, sorry, but your price is too high, you're too expensive, we can combat this in two ways. Firstly, I would go back to them and reduce the deliverables to meet their budget. And if that is still not sticking, the second thing I would do is retarget them months into the future with a follow-up email. A lot can happen in that period of 6 months for a product-based business. And this way, it gives them the opportunity to seek more growth in their market. And by the time that you're ready to follow up with them, their budget might have increased. So just because someone says they can't afford you now, doesn't mean that you should just throw that lead away and make it a write-off. If you truly want to work with that client, set that follow-up for far into the future, 4 to 6 months, and actually tell them, hey, yep, no worries, I'll follow up with you in another 4 to 6 months just to see how things are progressing on your side. In the meantime, I'll see you on Instagram. It is all about building those relationships for the long term. Number 3 is to get on their level. This is why I'm really big on showing my face on my Instagram, my personality, because people relate to people. They don't relate to business. They relate to you and your personality and your experiences. If someone likes your personality, they enjoy communicating with you, it's easy breezy lemon squeezy to talk to you and organize their shoot, then you already have an advantage over everybody else. So I want to emphasize again, customer service is so important in your business. So for us in our business, our project manager, Kiri, plays a huge role in upholding our customer service standards and ensures that our clients are looked after. It's really important to me in our business that we are flexible with our client requests, that we respond to them in a timely manner, that we follow up with them, and to show them that we genuinely care. So I know that this might sound cliche, but seriously, be yourself and reciprocate the client's communication style as well. If they use smiley faces, you use smiley faces. If they get really excited, you get really excited. Get on their level. So that paired with a really strong portfolio that actually attracts the type of client that you want to work with can help to leverage yourself as a chosen photographer for the project. So number 4, we're going to talk about my onboarding process, and I get this question really often. What is your process from start to end when it comes to booking in a client? And you know what? It's actually taken us a really long time to come to a process that works for both myself, for Alistair, and for Kiri, and something that makes sense for our clients as well. It's actually not as straightforward as we would think, and it's taken time to refine. So step 1, when someone inquires, first priority is to get information about their project and to get them to fill out a brief. Our website has our creative brief on our contact page, so someone can go straight to our website, fill out all the information, and we can quote that up. So we use Dubsado in our back end. That brief is linked to Dubsado. When they fill out that brief, creates a new project in Dubsado automatically. It has taken out a whole step for us in someone inquiring, being like, hey, I want to inquire, what are your prices? And then we'd be like, okay, let's create your project and fill out this form. Now, people can go straight to the website now. It's great. So step number 2 is to draw up a quote for the clients. Now, we don't do any mood boards, or we don't do any like creative proposals in this stage. Our main goal is to quote based on the information that we've been given. I will sometimes use a platform called Milanote. This is what we use for all our pre-production, to draw up the quote, make it look pretty, make it look on brand, add some visual references from our portfolio, and just like visually map out the quote and how long the project is going to take us. And because we custom quote, I still need a space where I can map everything out myself and draw up the quote and how many hours I think the project is going to take me. And so we're very transparent with our project breakdowns and our prices when we quote, so that our clients can see exactly what we charge and how many hours we estimate the project is going to take. And yes, custom quoting, it does take extra time. Sometimes it can take us anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes just to draw up a quote, but it's all worth it. And at this stage, we will also offer to jump onto a phone call with our client as well, in case that communication style matches them a little bit more. Step number 3, they approve the quote, we send through the contract and the invoice, we get it signed, we get our 50% deposit, and then we start on pre-production, which is where we start to flesh out creative ideas. We look for models or locations, we look for props and backgrounds, all of that fun stuff. And majority of the time, I will have the client approve our pre-production board 2 weeks before the shoot date. This ensures that everyone is on the same page, that no details have been missed, and it helps to reduce the possibility of having to reshoot. And by having your pre-production approved, if something does happen when you deliver the photos and something doesn't sit right, you can always fall back to the approval of your pre-production and say, well, this wasn't mentioned or blah, 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 and you can then recharge for a reshoot if it's required. Once it's all approved, we shoot, we edit, we upload, and we close the project. So I hope that you found these tips helpful. All these processes are really important to help you create a sustainable business in the long term. And remember that when it comes to photography, you still need to know the business side of things really well. And like I said before, customer service is such an integral part to people coming back to you again and again to rebook. And if you want to dive deeper into the business side of photography, then I do also have this inside my course, Become a Brand Photographer. And if you want to check out those follow-up templates as well, then they are inside the resources section of the course. But if you have any questions, you want any other advice, leave a comment down below and I will get back to you. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video.